Alright guys, so another Wednesday, another YieldMax distribution announcement. So this morning, on July 16 at 6:55 a.m., YieldMax essentially announced their distributions for all of the Group B as well as the weekly paying ETFs. So yeah, in today's video, I just wanted to go over these and kind of give my take on them, and let's see like who's the highest payers and how much you would have made. We're gonna talk about our little community favorite right now, which is Ulti. And I mean, week after week, Ulti has just been performing and impressing the whole community. And every time someone talks about Ulti, every time I make a video about Ulti, there's so much people that comment and that interact with the video. It just seems like Ulti is such a hot topic at the moment. And the more you do research about it, the more you see that it's been doing so well. And in my opinion, it's been doing so well, and it's something I'm really thinking about buying, and I'm like most likely going to buy in the next few days. I just posted a video talking about why I'm thinking of buying Ulti, so you guys can go check that out. I explained all of the reasons and I did my research. So yeah guys, not financial advice, just me talking about those high income ETFs from YieldMax. So let's get into it. YieldMax ETF announced distributions for the following ETFs. Palantir, $2.50, so not too bad, above $2, which is very good. Nvidia, $1.02. MARO, $2.37. And where's the other one? MRNY, 20 cents. I extracted their press release with all of the information, the yields, whatever, and I put that in my own spreadsheet. I ordered them by distribution rate. As you can see here, there's those two top dogs, including Ulti at the third place. So let's just go over every one of them and talk about those distributions. So MARO, which is trading options on MARA, has paid a distribution of $2.37, which is a 125% annualized distribution, which is very, very impressive and crazy. MRNY, which is on Moderna, paid 20 cents. And MRNY right now is pretty cheap, so even though it's only 20 cents, it's still a distribution rate of 101% based on the current share price. Very cool, like congrats if you're holding that. Let me know in the comments if you're an investor into MARO and MRNY. But like as we know, distribution rate of 100% for YieldMax is insane and very good. And that's something that we want because as we know, if we hold annualized distribution rate of 100%, we're going to hit the legendary quote unquote house money status in 12 months. Obviously, is this sustainable? I mean, the answer is it could be depending on how the underlying performs. It really depends on how it moves. So first of all, it has to be bullish because YieldMax is making their money with bullish strategies, so with calls. And second of all, it depends on the implied volatility of these holdings. So as of recent, both MARA and Moderna has been moving a lot and going up. So this is why YieldMax has been able to pay that much income for this month's Group B distribution. And then let's just talk about Ulti. So Ulti, 10.35 cents, 85% distribution rate with no NAV erosion, almost actually no NAV erosion. If we look at the past week, so since the drop last week, it's up 2%. And like as we can see in the last month, we're actually up on the share price, regardless of all the other dips from the other distributions. We're up, how much are we up? Google is not, Google chart is a bit weird. But anyways, we're up 1.5% in the last month just on share price. And on top of that, we have annualized distributions of around 75 to 85% per week. You guys can do the math, and the total returns on these have been crazy, especially for people who have been reinvesting their distributions. But since we're up on share price, technically you could have just cashed out your distributions and you would have not lost any of your initial capital. So like Ulti has been insane. I looked at the distributions, and this is the third time that Ulti pays above 9 cents since they switched to going weekly. As you can see, where's the weekly distributions? So they switched to weekly here. So here they paid 10 cents one time, then 11, then another 10 cents. And then since then it's been going sideways, and since weekly has been gaining so much traction, they've been pretty much consistent. And I think they've been doing it on purpose, like they're trying to not overdo it. And also something that's cool about Ulti is that they're using a collar strategy. So they're buying protective puts. And since they're buying protective puts, just to kind of summarize that quickly, if one of their underlying drops very fast, that protective put is going to allow them to sell those shares at a certain price. So let's say they have a protective put at $85 and they have their trading ticker that is worth 90, and then some very bad news happen and it drops to $50 a share. You're not going to see Ulti drop because they'll be able to sell their shares back for the strike price of the protective put. Anyways, long story short, selling protective puts protects you from the downside, but on the other side of the medal, you have to pay for those, you have to buy those puts. You're giving up some potential upside from your covered calls because you have to take off the price of those puts. So I think that is why Ulti has been paying around 9 cents consistently. It's because they're also a bit conservative for the fact that they're using collars. But now it just shows that they're able to do a good job at pulling those high IV, high quality stocks inside their underlyings. And if those underlyings do very well, they will be able to generate more income. We see some increasing distributions in the past weeks. So, I mean, that's very exciting. And as we know, in July and August, there's a lot of news coming up and a lot of earnings coming up for some very trending and hot stocks. I think that the advantage of holding Ulti during their earnings is that if YieldMax does a good job, assuming they will, because that's what they've been doing recently, they will be able to pull in some of those high potential, high volatile stocks right before their earnings, write some covered calls on them, and hopefully those stocks will blow up and blow through the strike prices, and we'll see some even higher distribution. So let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that during the earnings period, when the market's going to be very volatile, Ulti will be able to pay a 11 or 12 cents, which would be a distribution rate of probably like 90 to 100%. That would just blow my mind. I mean, I'm so excited to see what's upcoming for Ulti. NVIDIA, so $1.02, so 75%, still very good. Then LFGY, this one has been very consistent and paying a high distribution rate as of lately. And this is because obviously the crypto space have been blowing up and it's much more volatile than the normal stock market tickers. So I think that's why LFGY has been able to maintain around 48 to 46 cents per share on a weekly basis and a nice distribution rate of like around 60%. Congrats to anyone holding this one. It's very good. Personally, I don't have it, but I mean, I need some crypto exposure aside from MSTY, so I'm thinking about grabbing it. Then YMAG, it's a good distribution this week, 15 cents, so 51%. And then Palantir, 48%. And then YMAX, 39%. So just a quick word on YieldMax. Even though it is a bull market, YieldMax has been paying a bit less distributions and the distributions have been essentially trending downward. As we know, YieldMax depends on all of its underlyings, which are those YieldMax ETFs. Aside from MARO and MRNY, which were crazy, like if we look at the past month, so the July payout is basically for the June trading. If we go here at the end of May and we look at June, like look at how volatile MARA has been. It's been up 10%. From the dip here, it's been up 16%, then it dropped 14%, and now it's back up 33%. So MARA has been super volatile, and this is why, just for people holding the YieldMax ETF trading on MARA, they've been able to get a 125% distribution because it really depends on the volatility and also like if the underlying is going up. And same thing for Moderna. Like if you're holding Moderna, it's a pretty bad investment. Like as you can see, it's been going down. But if we look at the end of May, how volatile it was, like here we see a drop of like 2% or something. Then here it's back up 6% in a few days. Then it's down 6%. Then it's up 7%. Then it's down 9%. And now look how up it is, 35%. And that's why Moderna has seen a distribution this month of 100% is because it's been super volatile. But aside from those two underlying top dogs right here, most of YieldMax single stock ETFs here are in the 35 to 40%, 30 to 40% basically distribution rate. And YieldMax is dependent on these. So this is why YieldMax paid a distribution of 40% this week. It's not YieldMax's fault and it's not that YieldMax is bad. It's just that's the market conditions right now. Like for all of their single stock tickers, they're stuck with that. And the IV for these ones have been lower, so they can't extract more premium. There are some exciting earnings that are coming up for almost all of these single stock tickers that YieldMax is trading on. So I think, and this is not a prediction, but I'm pretty sure that the IV is going to go back up with all of their earnings coming up. And I think things are going to move. I'm very excited for the earnings. I think they're going to be positive. I have a good feeling about them, but yeah, we'll see. Those earnings are going to rock the market for sure. And we're going to see some YieldMax distributions hopefully climb back in the 15, 17, hopefully maybe 20 cents in the next few weeks. So excited for YieldMax. And I mean, I'm not I don't have any negative thoughts about YieldMax. Like I just think that this is how the market is right now, and 10 cent is still good, like 40% yield. I'm not going to complain. Quickly here, today we're July 16, and as you can see, there's a lot of news coming up already. So tomorrow we had Netflix, which is a big stock from YieldMax, and then we have Tesla, obviously, which is going to move a lot from the news, I'm sure, because it's already moving a lot without the earnings. So I think the earnings are going to move this one and boost up the implied volatility. So hopefully next month, Tesla's distribution is going to be higher, which is going to boost YieldMax. Then here we have Microsoft, Meta, Robinhood, Apple, Amazon. So as you can see, like we have a lot of exciting earnings coming up. And then if we go in August, Palantir, and we have like Shopify, Uber, AMD. Like we have like those crazy companies, Nvidia right here, Salesforce. Like all of these big companies, all the earnings are going to be in July and August. So very excited, guys. Like I feel like the market implied volatility is for sure going to go up. I'm not sure if all of those earnings are going to be good, bullish for the market. Obviously, I hope so. But I mean, for us as income investors, this is very good news because we should see higher distributions, especially for people holding YieldMax, which they just want to diversify and hold everything. Well, almost all of our holdings are going to see earnings. So we should see some good distributions in the next few weeks. And another word about Ulti is, as you can see, we got a lot of exciting news. And what Ulti are allowed to do is, as we know, they can shift their positions around. They don't need to create like a new YieldMax ETF on Amex or on 3M or on the NASDAQ, the NDAQ here, or all of these companies. Like if they think one of these is very volatile and is high quality, they can just pull it into Ulti right before the earnings, set some calls with a certain strike price, like they know what they're doing, and extract some premium from the earnings. As we know, earnings move like crazy, and if you trade 0DTE right before earnings, some people, they can make huge flips. I'm excited to see what Ulti will do. And even though they have protective puts, which cost a little bit of money, if they play their cards well, they have a potential to generate so much income on these upcoming earnings. So that's what I'm saying about Ulti. I'm excited for Ulti in the month of July and August. So let's see what we'll get. So now let's just look at the other ones. So JPMO, FBY, 38%. Then all these weeklies here, 38 to 35%, 32% for GPTY. Then BABA wasn't too volatile, I assume, 32%. Then short for Nvidia, 31%. I'm not sure why you would hold this. I mean, maybe some people are bearish on Nvidia or they want to hedge their portfolio. Then we have the gold miner one. It's a pretty interesting one, but I assume that gold stuff is pretty boring and doesn't move much. So 29%. And then QDTY, 22%. Pretty good distribution for a whole index. And then the S&P 500, which is like not the craziest IV. Still, they've been able to get 17% out of that one. So still pretty good. Like there's those two underdogs here, the two top dogs that are over 100%. And as we can see here, all of the other ones for Group B have been in the 30 to 40% max. So that is why we see some declining distributions in YieldMax. And with the earnings, I think we can expect these to boost more and we can expect higher distributions from YieldMax. Congrats to people holding Ulti. Like Ulti is very consistent. They have the flexibility to really move around their holdings and stuff. So yeah, just to look at Palantir, which is 48%. As we can see at the end of May here, like it's been rocking up and down, up 9%, down 9%, then up just a rally of 20%, a drop of 9%. So like Palantir is super volatile, and today it opened up here, then it dropped 1%, and now it's back up 1%. So like it's a very volatile stock, and YieldMax doing a good job. The distribution have been lower, and it's not as crazy as they used to be, because compared to January and February here, as you can see, we had a rally of 80%, followed by a drop of 30%, followed by another rally of 20%. Like here, YieldMax extracted higher, we had higher distributions for Palantir, and now we're down to 50%. But as I'm saying, it really depends on the underlyings. Nvidia, they had very good news. Like in this week, actually, they just got a huge jump of 5%. So I think this is going to be very good for next month's August distribution of Nvidia. We might see some distributions for sure higher than how much it was this week. Hopefully, YieldMax capitalize on that crazy movement we had recently on Nvidia, and we'll be able to see some higher distributions in the upcoming months or weeks. Just to repeat myself, like Ulti has been crazy, and hopefully the earnings are going to help get even higher distributions on a weekly basis. And I'm positive that YieldMax is going to catch up on Ulti, because right now Ulti is basically catching up on YieldMax, which used to be a fan favorite because it's an all-in-one, but now everyone is jump shipping into Ulti, and I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying they sold their YieldMax and they're all in on Ulti. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you want to capitalize off of Ulti while it's hot, you can go for it. And if one day you think that Ulti is not good enough or you change your mind, like, you're not stuck to it. And that's the beautiful thing about the stock market, is everything is so liquid, and you can change your mind and you can change your holdings every weeks and every day if you want. So you can ride a wave, make your money, and then get out and buy something else. Now, just for fun, I added some columns where we can see how much you would have got paid. I'm not going to go over all of them, but so if you had 100 shares of Ulti, you would have made $10. People who had 1,000 shares, it's pretty much doable. You would made $100, like 103. So a weekly payment of $100 plus, very cool. And then 10,000 shares, you had a weekly income of $1,000. So this is pretty cool. Some people don't even make that, or that's what they make working full time. 1,000 shares of Nvidia, you would made $1,000. If you had 1,000 shares of MARO, $2,000. MRNY, you have $200, and then 10,000 shares of MARO, you made $23,000. Nvidia, you'd made $10,000. YMAG, $1,500. Palantir, $25,000 if you had 10,000 shares. Pretty crazy. The yield is lower, so obviously your investment would cost you much more for 10,000 shares of Palantir than MARO. Still pretty crazy, $25,000 in a single month, or just 1,000 shares, you'd made $2,500, so pretty cool. And then YMAX, a bit disappointing. Like I said, YMAX has been consistent, and if we look at the share price, the thing with YMAX is that they're holding all of those tickers, and even though currently the market conditions are very good on the bullish side where everything is growing and growing, like I said, the IV has been a bit lower in the past weeks. The thing about YMAX is that you can capture more upside than Ulti. So even if the distributions for YMAX have been a bit lower, I'm not complaining. My investments have been growing a bit, so just 4% in the last month, plus the weekly distribution. So the total returns for YMAX, regardless of the declining distributions, still have been very good. And that's why I'm saying, like, YMAX is an all-in-one. You're not holding stuff just for the implied volatility, but YieldMax, they only make single tickers on stocks that they think are high quality and they're going to have a good future and they have a lot of potential for growth. Like, if you invest into YMAX, yes, it's for the weekly distributions, but it's also for the potential growth and the exposure to the trendy and the high quality tickers in the US stock market of the moment. Declining distributions, but at least we're gaining some money on our share price. $10, 1,000 shares, 100, not bad. And 10,000 shares, at least you would still make $1,000. Their earnings boost up the distributions. We're going to see some higher amounts in the next few weeks. So let's see what this is going to be. LFGY, you would have made, pretty cool. You made $480 on 1,000 shares and 4,800 weekly. Anyways, guys, that was it for my coverage of Group B distribution for July 16. Let me know if you guys hold any of these and if you're comfortable sharing. I'm curious to see how much you guys are going to receive this Friday. I have around 1,500 shares of YMAX, so I'm expecting to get, after the US withholding tax that we get in Canada, I'm expected to get around $160 to $170 of distribution this Friday from YMAX, which is lower than usual. With the same amount of shares, I used to get around $230 to $240. So that's why I'm hoping it climbs back up with the IV of the market. That is expected to go back up, but that's something that we'll have to see. Anyways, guys, until next time, take care.